Shalom. This week's Torah portion in the land of Israel is Parashat Behalotcha, while Parashat Naso is read in the Diaspora. Parashat Behalotcha, beginning in the book of Numbers, chapter 8, opens with God's instructions to Moshe to command Aaron, the high priest, Moshe's brother, that he should kindle the flames of the menorah. So, what is the menorah really all about? That's exactly the question posed by our sages, who ask, why is there a candelabrum in the inner sanctuary of the Holy Temple in the first place? God commanded it. It's an intrinsic part of the temple and its service. But why? What's it doing there? What's its purpose, they ask. God certainly doesn't need to see by its light. And what's more, the menorah was kindled in the Holy Temple every evening, shortly before sunset. The verse in Exodus chapter 27 and verse 21 states, "And you shall command the children of Israel, and they shall take to you pure olive oil, crushed for lighting, to kindle the lamp continually." Our sages in the Talmud explain that Torah's intention with the use of the word continually is from evening until morning, meaning the menorah is an evening thing. It was kindled in the evening, and it burned throughout the night until the morning. That's its time. That's how this commandment is meant to be fulfilled. But this further adds to our wonderment about the whole concept of the Temple Menorah, because the temple service was primarily conducted during the day with no activity at night. And the service of the menorah was the only exception to this rule, the only thing really going on at night. So open up your heart. The light of the menorah is no ordinary light. It's light on a different wavelength. It's an expedient that diffuses the light of the Shekhinah, the divine presence, which emanates from the Holy Temple. In 1 Kings chapter 6 and verse 4, we learn that King Solomon built the Holy Temple with a feature called narrowing windows. What are these narrowing windows? Unlike the windows in any other building in the world, these were narrow on the inside and wide on the outside. Their function was not like that of ordinary windows, which is to bring outside light into the room to illuminate it. Their purpose was to shine the divine light emanating from the menorah outside to illuminate the world. The menorah was kindled at night to effect a tikkun, a fixing for the entire world, precisely because the power of spiritual light is that it can shine even in the darkest of times. The light of the divine presence reaches out to all of us, and thus the Baal Shem Tov taught that the menorah's light also represents the inner light of the soul, which is always burning within us, even when we are in a state of darkness or despair. He taught that just as the menorah burned through the night in the Holy Temple, so too we can access the inner light of our soul even in the darkest of times and strive to strengthen our spiritual connection to God and use that light to guide us towards a brighter future. But open up your heart deeper still. A profound secret of Torah reveals that the 7 branches of the menorah correspond to the 7 openings of a person, which include his 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, and the mouth. These are our lights, the portals to our souls, so to speak, that we are responsible to keep in purity. We can either cause them to shine or to darken, God forbid. This connection between the menorah and the human body is a metaphor for the personal spiritual work that we each have to do in this world, our task of purifying ourselves and connecting with God. And the Baal Shem Tov also taught that the 7 branches correspond to the 7 attributes of the soul, which include love, awe, compassion, endurance, humility, bonding, and sovereignty. These attributes, reflected by the 7 openings of the body, are the same attributes that we studied about so much recently during the days of the counting of the Omer, representing the ways in which we can connect to God and bring His light into the world. And Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi taught that the 7 branches of the menorah also correspond to the 7 levels of the soul, which include nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida, and 2 additional levels that are beyond human comprehension to discuss. Each level of the soul represents a deeper connection with God and requires a greater level of spiritual work and devotion to access. Bottom line of these teachings, by kindling the inner light of our souls, as it were, through our spiritual practice and our focus on deepening the quality of our relationship with God, we can access the deeper levels of the soul and hopefully bring more of His light into the world. This is the essence of our avodat Hashem, our service to God in this world, and it's the key to achieving spiritual growth and fulfillment in our own lives. So, back to the beginning of our portion. The first 3 verses read as follows of Parashat Behalotcha. Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to Aaron and say to him, when you kindle the lamps, towards the face of the menorah shall the 7 lamps cast light." Aaron did so. Toward the face of the menorah he kindled its lamps, as Hashem had commanded Moshe. Our sages are famously puzzled by the verse, "and Aaron did so. Toward the face of the menorah he kindled its lamps, as Hashem had commanded Moshe." What is the intention of this verse? It doesn't appear to be adding anything new or even clarifying anything. Would we have thought even for a moment that Aaron the priest would not perfectly fulfill Hashem's command as instructed by Moshe, so that we need an extra verse in the Torah just to confirm, just to tell us that Aaron did so, that Aaron did what he was told? Now, the comments of Rashi, who always aims to clarify the basic meaning in as straightforward a manner as possible, only serves to further our bewilderment, because Rashi writes that this verse comes to praise Aaron for not making a change. This verse is in praise of Aaron for not deviating from the divine instructions. But when did he ever? Aaron received many divine commandments, and we never needed before to be informed regarding any of them that Aaron didn't make a change, that he did what he was told. But this is really the deepest lesson in the world, a life lesson really that is particularly relevant to all of us. Look, Aaron lights the menorah in the exact same manner every single day at the same time, and yet he does so, the verse comes to teach us, with the same enthusiasm, with the same energy and excitement which he felt the very first time. Every time is like the first time. The commandment never got old for him. He never lost his zeal, never allowed himself to sink into a pattern of doing it by rote. He never experienced the monotony of routine. That's what the verse praises Aaron for, with the words, "and Aaron did so." And as Rashi elucidates, he didn't change a thing, unlike, pardon me, the earlier example of Aaron's own 2 sons, Nadav and Avihu, who we learned about in Parashat Shmini back in Leviticus chapter 9, who were so enthralled and excited by the exhilaration of God's presence at the dedication of the tabernacle that they went overboard. And they brought an unauthorized offering because they felt that they needed to express their attachment to God in a new and a special way, in their own way. Aaron's conduct regarding the menorah is the opposite. It was about regenerating, about perpetuating the original level of excitement over and over again and keeping it fresh and constant. Although it was a daily, regular task, he never allowed it to become mundane. It was new every day. On a deeper level still, Aaron's unwavering commitment to following God's commandments without changing anything in the service of the menorah, it represents the ideal of a person's complete surrender to God's will, of striving to follow God's commandments without deviation or compromise caused by ego. This requires a deep level of trust in God and a willingness to surrender one's own desires and one's own agendas in order to serve Him fully. So the great Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kotsk taught that Rashi's statement on Aaron's unwavering commitment to following God's commandments without changing anything represents the importance of consistency in our spiritual pursuits as well. He taught that just as Aaron did not change anything in the service of the menorah, so too our goal should be to strive to maintain excitement in the consistency of our own spiritual efforts, even when faced with challenges or even when faced with distractions. This speaks to each of us because it's exactly the challenge that we face. It's exactly what our avodah, what our unique and individual service of God in this world is all about. How the light of the menorah reminds us, in the words of our sages, that each day should be new in your eyes, that no day should be like its predecessor. Every day we rekindle and draw strength and channel the divine light that flows through our souls, through our 7 lamps, as it were, shining forth, drawing power and direction for all our actions, so that we can illuminate like the menorah, spreading light and positivity in the world, striving to bring goodness into the world, even in the face of darkness and negativity, constantly renewing our energy and our preparedness to be a vessel for holding and sharing divine light. Thank you for watching this week's Jerusalem Lights Weekly Torah Lesson. Jerusalem Lights is a worldwide community of Torah lovers, and it's growing. A spiritual revolution is underway. It's called Torah for Everyone, and your support enables it to continue and grow. May each of you shine with the light of the divine presence and light up the world. Shabbat Shalom.